So I got my hands on the HIMI MIYA gouache set, and we will try this out today. I know this is not new. I know this has been all over the internet for 3 years now, but I really wanted to try the HIMI MIYA gouache set. So I planned to buy the 16 colors for this, because even back in college I want to mix my own colors. But when I checked the price of this, I think for just an extra 180 or 200 pesos I can get more colors, plus I can also get the free paintbrushes. So if I buy the 16 pieces of color plus the paintbrush, it will be more expensive than this one. So I just bought the 24 pieces set because it comes with a paintbrush. So let me show you. Before we continue, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and hit the notification bell so you will be notified every time I upload new videos. So I got one in mint, and it's heavy. It's huge, and it has 2 flaps on each side to hold the lid. And at the back there is also a guide for the colors and a few information about this paint, which I can't read because it's in Chinese. So inside it also includes a mixing palette, which is very nice. But since it has a very wide lid, you can also use the lid for extra mixing space or extra palette. So since it is made of plastic, I already know that the paint would stain on it. So one side is glossy, at the back it is matte. And this set also includes free paint brushes, a round brush, a flat brush, and a filbert brush. So I've heard reviews about these brushes for being hard or stiff, which most artists didn't like, but for me, I prefer these kinds of brushes for creamy medium, for example, acrylic or gouache, or oil paints. With these types of brushes, I feel like I have more control over the paint, but it's a personal preference. So the paint comes in big tubs like this, which look like jelly cups. By the way, I didn't like the arrangement of the colors on this set, so I decided to arrange them. So I prefer to arrange my color palettes in a way where if I spill a few paint on the next cup, it will not be ruined. So the light colors has to stay together and the darker colors has to be a little far away from the lightest colors. So if you're planning to do the same, just know that on this palette there are 2 colors that looks the same in natural lighting. So what I do is to use my flashlight to judge the colors better, because one is black and one is blue. I also watched a review about this paint a few days ago. I can't remember the title of the video, but I learned that this paint is manufactured for art students, and we all know that if you're an art student, you have to paint a lot, and paint is expensive. So they made this one a bit cheaper, but it is a good quality paint. Not like the branded ones, but the colors are very vibrant and nice. You will see it when I swatch the colors, and that is also why the paint comes in huge tubs like this. So after I am satisfied, I just put it back on the case and start swatching. So if you've noticed, I don't open the lid all the way. I just open a tiny part on the upper right corner and mix the paint with my palette knife. Get a little bit of paint and use that because I don't paint every day. And if I open the lids all the way, there is a tendency that the paint will dry up over time. I love the idea of having a complete palette open and easy to access, especially when you're working on a painting. It's easier to just add a few colors of whatever you want to add, but over time I still want to have fresh paint, moist paint every time I create a painting or an artwork, so I decided to just leave the lids on the tubs. Plus, I have my swatch sheet anyway, so I don't really need to see all the colors on the tubs when I'm working on a painting, because I can just pre-make my palette on the mixing plate every time I paint. I love how pigmented and vibrant the colors are, even for a cheap paint. I mean, for its price, it's a good quality paint. So I'm just using my palette knife to get the paint out of the cups to avoid contamination and to avoid molds over time. For cheaper paints, I often avoid using the pastel colors just because for most of them they look fake or weird on the paper, and it looks just basic. But for this palette, surprisingly, even the pastel colors are pigmented. They are very vibrant. By the way, at this point, I noticed that the paint stains on the paint brushes, but it's fine, it's expected. And for my first gouache painting, I actually used a few pastel colors that you will see later. And here are all the colors. Excuse the black dots, I kind of splattered paint all over it, so let's start with the painting. So for this painting, I decided to use my Canson watercolor pad. This is actually for calligraphy, but I'm using it for watercolors. So now I'm using it for gouache as well, because I don't really know the behavior of the paint yet, since it's my first gouache painting. For my reference photo, I'm using a photo from Ali.dlcrz. You can check her out on Instagram. I'll link her down below. So I have the colors that I wanted to use on my mixing palette. And as you can see, I have a lot of pastel colors in there. And for the gradient of the yellow and the blue, I always use white between the two colors so that the sky won't look green. One mistake I did is I didn't wait for the first layers to dry up before I added the next color, which made it a little muddy, but I fixed it and it turned out fine. I love how smooth these paints are and also how easy it is to control the paint. The colors are also so pigmented that even if I added a lot of white, it's still vibrant and saturated. But since it's my first time to use gouache, I don't really have anything to compare it to. So if you know any good brands, please let me know so I can try them out. I also love the way the gouache dries. It dries very fast, which is very good for me because I am a bit impatient with waiting layers to dry because sometimes I lose my momentum. But with this painting, after just less than a minute, the first layer dried up, so I can add the new layers for it. I think this paint is really good for practicing quick paintings. I don't really see myself using this for detailed drawings or paintings, but this is very nice for when you want to practice landscape, to study colors, if you want to make thumbnails for larger paintings, or if you want to test out the layout of paintings. This is very good because you can work with it quickly because it dries fast and it's very easy to work with. It's a good quality paint for practicing, but I don't see myself, if ever in the future, using this for commissions, especially when I learned that this is not really light fast, so you can't do that anyway. One thing I've noticed about this paint is that the darker shades on or colors on this paint dries darker. So on this painting, when I painted the mountains, I actually made like 3 shades of gray here, just so I can have the details on the mountains. But when it dried up, it all dried black. So when it dried, you can't really see the details that I made. So that's one thing to keep in mind. I also love the paint brushes that came with this set. Even though they are free, they are really good quality paint brushes, or at least for me, because I love the texture of the paintbrush, that it is soft enough to create the gradient, but also hard enough to be easy to control and work with. So the only downside that I see with this paintbrush is that the paint stains on the bristles, but it's really common for paint brushes with white bristles, so it didn't really bother me. It's fine. By the way, on this part, I didn't really notice that the camera was out of focus, so I'm sorry for that. And the most satisfying part, the peeling of the washi tape. And that's all for this video. Thank you for watching, and if you want content like this, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you will be notified every time I upload new videos.